vast expanses of the Great Bear Rainforest. However, after many changes to his old habitat, he began to explore the world outside, where he found himself getting into a little bit of trouble. As we begin, the bear is having a nap in his new home, captivity.
Grandma, can we go see the bear? I heard they have him at the wildlife refuge up the street.
Yeah, me too. Can we go, Grandma, please?
Well, I suppose we could go visit him. He seems to be going through a very hard time right now.
He's going through a hard time? Yeah, right, Grandma. He's eating all kinds of garbage and getting into people's yards. I don't think it's him having a hard time.
The family arrives at the sanctuary, where they see a spirit bear in a big enclosure with metal bars, and above the gate, a sign that reads, Kermode Bear, also known as the Spirit Bear. The grandmother has concern that her grandchildren are laughing at the bear.
Children, we should be very concerned about Kermode. The Creator gave us spirit bears as a warning of our difficult past. It wasn't always so easy, you know.
What do you mean, Grandma?
Gather around. I'll tell you.
From deep in his dreams, Kermode hears an elder's voice speaking. It sounds like she is telling his story. The story begins when the Creator, Raven, first created the world. The world was covered entirely in water. There was no land to be seen at all. No two-legged, four-legged, finned, or feathered creatures existed. The world was quiet. After some time, the raven was lonely. He flew down to the world and made the land appear. He started slowly, carefully constructing the peaks of the tallest mountains, which he let slip through the top of the water. He continued his work, building the mountains until they reached as high as the clouds. Next, he poured the rivers and lakes, letting them settle into the low-lying lands from the mountains he had created. He filled the mountains with great-reaching trees, low-lying plants, and beautiful-smelling flowers. He added fruit-bearing trees and berry bushes and soft grass so he could walk on it. The raven played here, swishing his wings through the cool wintry air as he soared from snow-covered mountaintops deep into the valleys below. He had created this place, a place that was all his, and he stretched his wings and was most pleased.
Now what? I have created this place of great beauty, and I have no one to share it with.
To ease his loneliness, he spent extra time crafting the wildlife. First, he arranged each of the feathers so that his winged friends could fly. Next, he painted each scale on the skin of his swimming friends. He built the legs of his four-legged friends with great power so they could scour the terrain, hunting, fishing, and playing. Raven named all his animal creations and told them that they must live in harmony with one another. Next, Raven created the first human and called it man, giving man knowledge to care for all he had created. Finally, Raven gave the man a wife so that he could live happily and the generations would carry on. He also gave the man tools for hunting and fishing. He taught the man how to be humble, to work hard, and to live harmoniously with his fellow man and all the animals of the water and the land. Over time, the man and his wife had many children who spread out over the land and were prosperous. They lived in harmony with the animals that lived there and took care of the forests that they all shared. They worked hard to provide for one another and only took what they needed to survive. Raven was happy. The man lived a good life, growing very old. He passed the knowledge from Raven on to his children, but Raven's message was quickly being lost. Raven took the first man back to the spirit world, and once he was gone, the world became more and more wicked. The people no longer lived in harmony as they were instructed by Raven. They stole from one another, overhunted the animals Raven had entrusted them to care for, and they abused the forest by taking more than they needed to build and warm their homes. People no longer worked hard to protect what they'd been given. They became lazy. This angered Raven, and he decided to take the world back. He sent snow. Day after day, it continued to snow. Snow and ice covered all the land, burying the trees and freezing the lakes and rivers. The world was white. Slowly, all the firewood and the food stores were used up. There was nothing left but ice and snow everywhere. Only one man and his wife survived, scavenging the lands far and wide for scraps of food and bits of wood to keep warm. Still, it snowed. Exhausted, the man and his wife asked Raven for help.
Please, Raven, this world is too difficult. We can barely survive. We have learned our lesson and are willing to do whatever it takes to protect what you have given us from the harms of others. We will work with the mountains, the forest, and the animals so we can all live in harmony once again.
Raven thought about the request. It was true, and he was getting bored. He no longer had any creatures to play tricks on. Remembering what had happened before, Raven made the man and his wife promise that they would keep the world clean and safe for all. Slowly, Raven warmed the world. The snow melted off the tops of the mountains and settled back into large lakes. Rivers swelled, crashing down to the oceans below. The the raven turned everything back to green. Once again, the trees stretched all the way into the sky, and the grass returned underfoot, the berry bushes plentiful, and the trees were full of fruit. Along with the animals of the land and waters, man once again flourished. Raven wanted a reminder of when the world was covered with snow and ice, to leave something behind from that time so man would remember his promise to take care of all that Raven had created. Raven spent much of his time working on this new creature so that it would stand out from the rest. He made each strand of fur as bright as the whites of the glaciers, fluffy like the snow. When Raven was finished, he decided to set aside a special part of the forest that the bear could call his own, the Great Bear Rainforest. The rainforest was set aside as a paradise for the spirit bear to live in peace with others forever, with vast spaces of sky-high cedars and ancient hemlocks and age-old sitkas. Raven said to the man,
I have sent the spirit bear as a reminder of when the world was white with ice and snow. You must protect the spirit bear and hold it closely as a reminder of what the world was like. Keep it as a reminder of a time when the world was wicked.
Grandma, seeing Commodie in this cage after hearing your story is making me sad. How did this happen?
Only Commodie, the little spirit bear, knows that story.
Little Commodie is in a deep sleep but restless. All four of his lights are twitching and he's growling. It's very dark, and he's not sure where he's fallen asleep. Is he dreaming? What is he dreaming about?
My sons, it is time for all of us to part ways and for each of you to find your own home territory as young adults. One day, you will find a mate and have cubs of your own. And remember, your cubs may be white like you, Commodie, or black like you, Sklex.
I will miss you both, and I will remember all the lessons you have taught me and make you proud.
I too will use all the skills you have taught me, Mother, and I will miss you, white-furred brother. I wish you well, sons, and perhaps we shall meet again in this world. But remember, we will meet again in the next world.
I was sad to leave my mother and brother, but knew it was time to make my own way in the world. I must find my own territory with streams to catch salmon, clearings with plenty of berry bushes, and trees with fruit. I will also need to find a den for the long winter sleep. I had traveled and seen the sun rise and fall many times and managed to find berries, fruit, and salmon along the way, but still hadn't found a cave or large fallen tree for my winter den. I traveled and saw the sun rise and set many times again and came upon a beautiful thick forest on the side of a mountain, with a cave just the right size for me to use for my long winter sleep. A short way from the den was a stream full of salmon, and on the bank lots of berry bushes and trees full of fruit. This mountainside would be my home territory. I started to mark my home territory, and one day I came upon a clearing and a strange scent. I'll get breakfast started if you load the truck with the equipment we need today.
On it. Let's get moving. How about bacon, eggs, and fried potatoes today? I'm getting awful tired of oatmeal.
Commodie moved a little closer, hiding behind a large patch of berry bushes, and in a small clearing, he saw three strange, two-legged creatures.
I didn't move, but could smell something that was making my stomach growl. I watched as one of the creatures crawled out of the strange-looking sleeping den. Then all three of the creatures appeared to eat whatever I was smelling. It sure smelled good. Then the two-legged creatures climbed into a different strange-looking den, and it moved away faster than I can run. When they were gone, I came out into the clearing. I knew they had left some of the food behind, and I was going to find it. I searched their sleeping den, then I remembered they had put the food in a blue box beside the den. I found it, ate it, and headed back home for a nap. When I woke up, the sun was rising, and I was real hungry. I followed my nose to the clearing where I had found the food before, but the humans were gone. I picked up a whiff of the truck and followed it to where the rest of the humans lived. I bet all of them ate delicious food like what I had had the day before. As I walked to town, I was surprised to find boxes of food left out on the path.
Wandering along, Commodie moved house to house enjoying the food. He stopped when he heard humans, tipped his head, and listened.
I can't believe this. That is a Commodie bear. First Nations people in the area call them spirit bears.
Yeah, I heard they are actually really a black bear, but there is a genetic thing that makes about 1 out of 10 white.
This is very cool, but now that he's found food, he'll never leave. This could be a real big problem.
Maybe he'll just leave.
I don't think so.
Commodie finished eating and raised a paw in thanks. It was time to go to the stream for a drink, look for a couple salmon for lunch, and after that, pick some berries for dessert.
The humans did not put their food outside for a number of days, so I went to the creek where the salmon were swimming, hoping for a late lunch. When I got to the stream, I once again smelled human food. It smelled so good, I had to go find it. Across the large human path, I found the largest pile of human food. I grew excited and my stomach rumbled. What a feast! There were humans everywhere, adding food to the pile. I couldn't wait. I had to get in there.
The humans spotted Kermode, who invited them over by waving a paw. Then they made loud noises, waving their paws and throwing rocks at him. He decided to leave quickly and come back when they were not there. Ray and Sam jumped into their truck and turned on their radio.
Conservation officers are reporting that a white bear has been spotted at the city dump today. Scared bystanders shouted at the bear and threw rocks, clearing the bear from the site. Anyone who spots the bear is asked to call the conservation office immediately. The bear is not afraid of humans and appears to be eating trash. Officers are looking to capture the bear to relocate it to the wildlife sanctuary.
Hey, Ray, I bet that's the same bear that got to our camp. Let's go see if we can find him close by.
The next day, Kermode returned to the feast pit looking for a meal.
To my surprise, when I got to the feast pit, there was a big sleeping den full of food. I wandered in, thinking I would be able to make it my home for the next while. Hey, this new territory didn't seem so bad. I devoured the food and then thought about going to the stream to get a drink. I turned to leave but couldn't get out. The entrance was blocked.
When Kermode awoke, he didn't know where he was. It looked like a sleeping den that had been filled with food. He could hear humans talking at a small door by the side of the den.
Look, he is awake and he's hungry. I was worried about the dose of the sedative I used in the dark. We'll give you a collar, some dinner, and you'll be off and running soon.
I ate my fill of the great food that was left for me. The collar that they gave me was really annoying, and I tried to paw it off my neck with no success. By sunset, I was ready for a sleep and nodded off. In the middle of the night, I was woken by the howling of my brother Coyote. I wondered if he could help me get the collar off, and maybe he hadn't heard of the feast pit. I climbed up the wall of the den, found an opening, and ran free.
The next morning, the conservation officer arrived to the enclosure to find the spirit bear was gone.
Bad news. The bear is gone. Must have climbed over the wire enclosure wall. That enclosure was not really designed to hold the bear. His collar is telling us he's heading back towards the dump. We shouldn't have too much trouble tracking him down. Wait a minute. The radio signal has stopped working. I think the collar has come off.
Finally, I was able to get the annoying collar off and enjoy my lunch. Stopping by the stream, I feasted on salmon and had a drink before heading to the feast pit.
There he is, at the dump. We'll bring him here at the bear sanctuary this time.
When he awoke, he was in a huge clearing with many other black bears. There was plenty of food for all of them, enough to fatten them up for the winter. On the hill, there were many dens filled with cedar boughs to keep them safe and warm through the long winter. He made a lot of new friends, making it even easier. He might even be able to find a mate here, just like his mother told him he should.
Hello again, dear friends. Please know the importance of your presence has not been lost, and the message from the raven remains true. As humans, we do so easily forget the impact of our actions on your traditional territory. It is now our turn to help you. Stand up for the Great Bear Rainforest and work together to protect it for our future generations.
We thank you for joining us on our ride through Klahowya. We look forward to seeing you soon.